how can I love you today? So right from the get-go, Scott and I, when we woke up every morning, we asked each other, how can I love you today? And some days we didn't have an answer. Other days was like, I really need you to be patient with me today. I'm having a hard day. And so we did that every morning. And we actually wound up it at the end of the night. We always ask each other, did I love you today? Being able to be open, honest, committed, and just have that pure heart for each other, I really do feel I met my soulmate, your partner, who allows you to see the best of you.
Welcome to Soul Sisters Get Real, the show that goes deep in who we really are and why we are really here.
We're your hosts, Karen from the States
and Eleni from Australia.
We've had heartfelt conversations as soul sisters for years, and we're ready to share our truths, stories, and life lessons with you.
And to inspire you to connect to your truest essence, which resides deep within your soul. There'll be tears, there'll be laughter, and there'll be no holding back.
So sit back, relax, and let's get real about the things that truly matter.
Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Soul Sisters Get Real. Very excited about this episode. We're going to be talking all about love, because our author is the author of 2 books on love. The first one being A Year of Love, and the second one being 6 Months of Love. Our guest today is Lisa Brearley. Lisa lived most of her life with the white picket fence, a husband, 2 kids and a dog, before ending her 26-year marriage, and that opened up her heart and her soul. She then met the love of her life, Scott, and from that, she's written 2 beautiful books on love. So welcome, Lisa, and of course, hello to my beautiful soul sister, Karen.
Hello. Thanks for joining us today. I am fired up to talk to Lisa about her books and about love because I resonate, sound similar to maybe my journey even. So thank you for being with us, Lisa. I'm very excited to have you here. I can't wait to have this conversation. So I'm curious, you have 2 books on love, which means much of your life revolves around love and your love story. So tell us a little bit about before you wrote these books and before your marriage ended, what that looked like.
Hi, well, thank you again for having me. I'm super excited to be here. And I want to start off by saying this is stretching my comfort zone. So I'm excited to be able to do that because I know that when I stretch, I grow. So thank you very much, ladies, for having me. So I was married shortly after I graduated from the university in PEI in Canada. And I met an amazing man. And we had 2 kids who are beautiful kids. They're now 25 and 21. And life went on. And I truly, truly believe in my heart that when I was young, I didn't know my authentic self. I didn't know my inner self. I was yet to discover her. She was in there and she was hiding, and life happened, and the layers came on, and the layers came on and came on and came on. And back in 2018, I was living on the west side at this point of Canada, and I sat back and I just said, I'm not happy. And I think for about 8 to 10 years before that realization, maybe about 8 years before that realization, I had approached my husband many times with something's not working right. Something's not going right. I don't feel good. We're not working together as a team. And I just decided that one night I had to be brave. And I said to my husband, it was simple. I didn't say I need a divorce. I said, I need to move on for me. I have to move on for me. I was not doing well. I was not healthy. And so that was my brave moment to move forward in my life. And it was amicable in regards to what we had needed to do to move forward. And that was kind of how it went, really. And I was feeling, like I said, just really unhappy, not settled in myself. Um, I around that time had began some soul searching with understanding about food. That was one of my big shifts in my life, actually. I joined a program learning about what food to put in my body, and all of a sudden, my brain started to shift. I started to have more clarity, and wasn't sure if everything was just happening coincidentally at the same time or I was taking control. I'm not sure what was going on, but I was starting to understand what was really important to me. And I was starting to peel back those layers that were layered on me for so long. And I had started doing some personal development work and started peeling back more layers and realizing how I needed to shift. And life had so much more than I was showing up as. And I knew there was more. I knew there was more for me. And I was searching, and I still continue on that journey. I'm still searching for how I can give back to the world and how I show up and how I leave that legacy for my kids and all that sort of stuff. But I just feel like, wow, the world is so abundant now. Like I'm just seeing so much more as I was really weighed down previously in my marriage. And so, yeah, that was kind of my big in life.
Interesting. What's interesting, Lisa, is that I may be wrong, but it doesn't feel like there were any big catalyst moments that led to you leaving your first husband. It feels like you just, as you started to discover who you were, you just knew that it all felt a bit uneasy. You felt that it wasn't right, that there had to be something more. Is that what it was? So there was no catalyst moment where you said, like, that's it, I'm out. There was no big argument or big, disagreement. It was just this feeling that this can't be all there is. There's got to be more than that. Is that right?
Correct. Like there was not one big event. Yes, I think it was the fact that Lisa, me, was standing up, was being confident, was sharing what I needed to share, was letting my feelings being known. That was the event for me. It was like I needed to make a decision and I needed to be okay with my decision so I could move forward.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was your husband okay with the decision?
It surprised him, although we that word divorce went back and forth several times throughout that last several years of our relationship. And was he okay? Of course, he was not happy that things were shifting because I think for me in the end, it was because I was making the decisions. And it was something that I had to do because I wasn't doing well within the marriage. So I needed to move on.
So after that, paint us a bit of a picture. What happened with your life after that? Because as both Lenny and I know, that it's definitely a life-changing event when you decide to be independent. So what happened in your life then?
Yeah, so it was interesting when we had approached our children, who at that time were late teens ish time, age. Um, my daughter actually said, I thought you guys would be doing that sooner when we told her that we were divorcing. And so that told me that there was that feeling that mommy and daddy weren't showing up the way we needed to show up for them. And I knew I was taking some personal development classes and I began to really understand that I needed to work on me in order to show up better for my children. So I knew that the growth had to happen with me. And it's a very emotional thing for me as I'm still working on that. Um, so as I was taking these personal development classes and starting to really understand that the growth in me meant that I could grow my relationship better, more stronger with my kids. And so, in that space and in that zone of rediscovering who I am inside, um, I went to a week-long personal development class. And the amazing souls there that revealed their souls over a week of, getting to know them, that's where I met Scott, my current husband.
But Lisa, you say that you met Scott, at this personal development course. Was there a part of you that was like, "Hey, I've got to get to know me better first"? What actually happened? But I also know at the same time that when you meet the right person, you meet the right person, and you can just feel it with every cell in your body. So tell us, how was that? Was there a conflict?
No, I knew I was going. First, let me back up. When I went to this week-long course, I was going there to improve my relationship with my daughter. And that is what I did. I focused on that. However, even a year later, I realized that's not what I was doing there. I was going there to work on me, which improved my relationship with my daughter. And so my daughter and son. So when I was there, I'm like, Lisa, you need to focus on yourself. I knew Scott was there for his reason and for his purpose to work on himself, as with everyone else that was there. So I remained in the lane that I knew I needed to work on me, because that was how I was going to show up for whoever I meet in this world and my kids. And so it was interesting because the week went along and I totally focused on me, and it was a beautiful thing. And I was able to discover things I never thought I was capable of understanding. And so, but by the end of that week, Scott and I actually both thought the course went till Sunday and it only went till Saturday. And we looked at each other, we're like, let's go for dinner. So that's kind of how it all started. That's really how it all began. And the, the amazing thing that I discovered in that week is I understood what I did not want in a relationship. So looking at the other side of the coin, I now realize what I did want in a relationship. I wanted someone who was open, honest, willing to look at himself, herself, whatever it was, for seeking new ways to show up in the world, and a masculine man who's vulnerable, like all these things that came up. And I'm like, wow, I just found this person. And so we have remained in a relationship that is just open, pure, honest, supportive, encouraging of each other. We've never broken that. And that week that we were at the course, um, amazing exercises. However, one exercise that Scott went through that was really shifted us in how we showed up for each other daily was this volunteer staff member, Felipe. We were doing a high wire walk. And one of the questions before Scott went up, the question that Felipe asked him is, what do you want in your life? And he had said, I really want a partner. And he said, well, what would you ask your partner when you wake up in the morning? And Scott just answered, like, how you doing, honey? Good morning. I love you. And Felipe said, can I put a little something in your mind, something in your heart about how you might step up and ask something different? He said, why don't you ask her, how can I love you today? So right from the get-go, Scott and I, when we woke up every morning, we asked each other, how can I love you today? And some days we didn't have an answer. Some days it was simple, like, can you please, empty the garbage? Or other days was like, I really need you to be patient with me today. I'm having a hard day. And so we did that every morning, and we actually one up it with what Felipe suggested. We, at the end of the night, we always ask each other, did I love you today? And so being able to be open, honest, committed, and just have that pure heart for each other, I really do feel I met my soulmate. And I know a lot of people, we have different meanings for that. The one that I adopted was the one from Bianca Spiracino, and I can't word it off exactly, but it's about someone who your soulmate, your partner, who allows you to see the best of you. And I think that's who I found. Yeah.
So I'm curious about all of this when you found him. Now, how long have you been together?
We met in August of 2021.
Okay. Okay. I'm excited to hear about your books and how your books align with all of this. But before that, I do want to ask you, have you thought about, and possibly this is in your book, is I was placed there in the right place at the right time, and so was he, because our souls were meant to align in that certain time and that certain place. Does that come up for you?
Oh, 100%. As I was telling you, this personal development work is all sequential. And it's based, the second one where we had met is based in the States originally. But COVID happened. And so they were scrambling as to how to get all these Canadians into this course when they couldn't come down to the States. So they had this great idea, let's bring it up to Canada. And so Scott had actually taken the first course a year before I had even taken it, and we were in two different provinces. Now he was supposed to go down to the States for that week-long course the year before I was even going to take it. So we both ended up at the same place in Canada that was only actually offered a few times. And so yes, I do believe there is a lot of that in us meeting. Yes.
Beautiful divine timing. I just want to say also that with regards to, how you start the day, that is something that when you said that, it just reminded me because Christian and I used to do something similar every morning. And I just thought, oh, I haven't done that for a while. So I just thought, because he's still asleep because it's early morning here in Australia. And so I thought, oh, you know what? When I go into that room straight after this podcast, I'm going to do what we used to do. So what we used to do was first thing in the morning is set the intention for the day of how we would love each other. But I love that you ask the question, how can I love you today? And I'm going to say that to him straight after this episode. So, and then, who taught me about reflection on the day? I did a 4-day course a while ago with Deepak Chopra, and Deepak is big on reflection. So, like, just okay, let's look at this day and how did it go, and did I love enough? Was I open enough? Was I sensitive enough? Or was it just about me? And so it's a beautiful thing and a beautiful practice to do first thing in the morning, last thing at night, because then otherwise we can just get onto this hamster wheel where it's okay not to be 100% devoted to your partner. And we all know that when you give, you receive, and it just makes us more happier when we're giving. And so I love that question, which is, how can I love you today? And one thing that Wayne Dyer actually would always say is that during the course of the day, if you've made a commitment to love each other in the morning and maybe your partner responds to you in a way that's not so loving, can actually say, well, that doesn't feel loving to me. It's not about what they said. It's not about the topic. It's not. It's how it feels, and that's a good check through the day as well. So you've got the morning, through the day, and the end. It doesn't feel loving to me, or that feels really loving to me, and to give that positive reinforcement back all the time because you know I just resonate, Lisa, because I'm in my third long-term relationship, and and that was after a 22-year-old marriage as well, which was my last one. And I just do things differently this time. Like I feel like every marriage and every relationship, this is my third one. I'm so much I'm a much better partner. I'm way better than I used to be. And it's all about what you said, which is bring out the best in each other. And that's how I knew that my last relationship was ending, because we came to a place where we were bringing out the worst in each other. And that's when like, this is the worst of me. Like, this is not who I really am. But then when you're in a relationship when you're just so loving and so nice and so kind and so considerate and so compassionate and, then you know that this is the best of you who is the real you.
So I'm curious. I took a very similar course. It was called Hardcore Leadership. And then I coached another one called Next Level Leadership. And it was the very similar, the 3 days or the week long, and then the 3 days, and then and it was 4 month course. And then I took the next one that was a 6 month leadership course. And speaking of relationships, what I remember and recall is that we all get to have a 10 out of 10 relationship. And that means that it gets to be easy, and um and we are better people with each one that we have. So I love it that you both were going through this transformational leadership, transformational course at the same time. You both knew what it was that worked in your other relationships and what didn't work. And then you get to say, throughout, I was just talking to a friend the other day about, she was having some challenges with her husband. And I said, well, you might be at that space. And I can imagine you and your husband now use this all the time, is like, what is working and what is not working? Because, and then ask that question of them. And then you get to say what's working and what's not working for you, which is such a easier and better way to speak about your relationship than you did or I need, right?
Totally. And my husband as well I like to think I inspired him about writing a book. But he just started about a year ago writing his own personal life memoir. And, I was a year and a half into our relationship at that point when he started writing. And because I had gone through the journey of, you know, writing, what does it look like? What do I have to do? Going through the process with the group that I went with, um, Ultimate 48-hour author publisher company. Anyway, because I had gone through the process, I said, I'll support you in by reading your book and seeing how it's going and maybe seeing if there's anything you need to add. Wow, that was a hard read to read his life from when he was about 5 years old right up to now. And so, yeah, when you talk about showing up for someone who has had a lot go on in his life, it gets right to my heart actually. I'm reading a lot of these things that he's gone through in his life, and we we understand, both of us really are very, very aware that the way we show up now is all those things that we were told or we experienced or someone else thought about us or that we've done over and over and over in our life. But we can come to a place now where we go, oh, I know where that's coming from. Like I see it, and we can actually talk about it and support each other through to the next step because we're aware of either that pattern or that, like, you may have heard the term limiting belief, that thing that is like you've doubted all your life about yourself, and it's that coming up, and we can actually both kind of step back and look at it and kind of point at it and go, there it is. Okay, so I see it. What can we do to move forward? And so that's kind of how we support each other um, in our journeys.
Beautiful. So let's talk about a year of love.
Mm.
Tell us, what is this book about? What is like the main theme of this book? What is the main lesson from this
Oh,
book?
sorry. Over to see it. I don't know if it was in the screen. So, yeah, so this is my husband and I actually just outside the year of love. My dad took that picture at the airport. I could not resist the picture. But it's my subtitle is Taking Risks, Big and Small, Finding My Soulmate to Win It All. And it's interesting how when you go through life and you think, I did that, check, don't realize that there's another um, learning to happen. So when I was writing my second book, 6 Months of Love, I discovered I'm my own soulmate. So I discovered I had one, and then I'm like, I'm my own soulmate. I want to see the best in me and support the best for me. So anyway, this book, A Year of Love, um, I met Scott in mid-August of 2021, and as a teacher, you go back at the end of August. In Canada, you do typically. I don't know how you run in other places, um, but we go back, and as a teacher, you always sit around at the big table, and everybody talks about their summer and tells a little story about what you did, and everybody couldn't wait to come around to me because they're like, Lisa, like your smile, your energy, your positivity, they said, is like beaming before you even enter the room. They're like, we need to know what's going on with you. Why? So I had entered that school year in 2021 with just this new level of positivity, new level of awareness, new level of determination to move forward in my life. And during that school year, I was approached by several people. They're like, "Why don't you write a book about it? Like you've shifted, you've made new big bold choices." And I was like, "I don't know, write a book? Can't write a book." Anyway, I had a few friends over that school year say that to me, and so by the following summer, I started jotting down notes, and I'm like, "Oh, maybe I could write a book." And I was on actually a plane ride to go back home to see my family. And I had got out my phone and I was not texting, I was filling in notes, the story that I thought originally was going to be called Why Scott. That's what I thought I was going to give it the title. And when I was on that plane ride, my brother actually was on the same ride as me. And I said, "Have a look at this. What do you think?" He's like, "This is pretty good." So I sat back down. I'm like, I don't think I can write more with a Why Scott title. I said, it has to be about me and my journey. So that's what I discovered. I discovered I needed to write a book about me and my journey to show others that it's possible to grow, and it's possible to be feel confident in sharing your feelings, your thoughts, your emotions, and you shouldn't have to hide. There's no hiding anymore. Be proud of who you are. You deserve to be out in the world and to be part of this world. And so when I was down in the US for one of those big, long PD courses again, I had made the goal to write my book, get my book published. And the reason was to be confident in who I was and be okay with sharing that. So this is a pretty revealing, open, raw, honest look at my emotions, my challenges, my successes, everything kind of that went through me and in my relationship with my husband, Scott. And he is as open as I am in regards to sharing, talking, encouraging others. And yeah, so it's just one of those feel good stories.
Yes. So I have a
Yeah.
question for you because Eleni and I have both written books and we are in the editing slash stage where we're finishing it up. And what we both know, and I'm curious for you if this is the case, was there, and I don't know if this is with Eleni, but I know for sure, when you were about to put the book out there to the world, was there that fear of, oh shoot, I'm bearing my soul, I'm so vulnerable, and what are people, like those that love me, those that know me, what are people going to think of me?
Oh, totally. um, yeah, I had a lot of that, and it was mostly with my immediate family. So one of the things, a little story that's in the book, and I had to talk to my dad about the story before I let the book out there because this was one of those limiting beliefs that I was my earliest memory, and I knew I needed to approach my dad, and I knew I needed to step up, be brave, and tell dad about the story and how it, I believe, put me on a path that I ended up going on. And it's a simple story for many people when they hear it. However, I think things happen in our lives that For others, they may feel like a small thing, but for me, it was a big thing. I'd asked my dad when I was 6 years old to help him paint the white wooden fence. We had an acre lot and he was painting the white wooden fence. And I said, "Can I help you?" I'm the artsy fartsy one of the family. I'm like, "This will be so much fun. I'll be so good at it." And he said, "No, no, you won't do a very good job. I'm going to get it done." And it was like, that was my first memory of someone saying to me that your quality of work or your artistic talent or your capabilities won't measure up in some way. And so I told my dad that story and I said, "Dad, this is what I remember." I said, "It's okay that I had that story and if that happened, it's okay. I just want you to know that that's what I was feeling. And that's when I reflect back, that was a big pivotal thing." And he came back, my dad, he said, "I'm sorry, Lisa, I don't remember. I'm sorry that you felt that way." And I said, "It's okay, Dad. It's all good." But it was like, oh my God, it was such a release. And so my mom, was my kindergarten teacher, but my mom, she's my little cheerleading sort of my cheerleading group, and she was excited. But it was interesting. My very first sharing of my book, um, I wanted to do with my family, and we actually had Skype calls every second week since COVID. We started doing Skype calls every second week, and I thought, what a perfect opportunity to stretch my comfort zone and share my book that's going to be coming out in a few months. And so I sent all my family. I have 3 siblings, my mom and dad, and I sent them this email that I wanted to share. I said I was nervous about it, but I wanted to share with you guys. And they all knew about the book, but I wanted to be able to step up and be able to kind of confidently share my book. And I sent out this email, and of course, I get an email back from my mom going, "Yeah, yeah, I'm excited." My dad hadn't replied, but he showed up. And then I didn't receive anything from my siblings, and they never showed up at the Skype call. They had other plans, so I had a choice. I said I can either look at that as be angry or upset with them that they never came. However, I decided, I looked at actually the pictures in the book of the Skype page. I looked at that and said, "You know what? I'm really proud my mom and dad came. They're my biggest supporters, and I'm very, very grateful and fortunate to have such loving parents in my life." And yeah, I shared my book with them, and of course, they were both excited and proud of me and that sort of thing. But yes, I did worry initially about just being out there. However, I realized that that is the way I want to show up in life. I love the open honesty about feelings. I'm relearning how to fully feel, and that was one of the things actually I wrote in my second book, 6 Months of Love, because I discovered as I reflect back in my life, I really only showed up with like this much of emotional, um, what do you want to call it? Like I wouldn't go show lots of happy, crazy, wild emotion to really sad emotion. I kind of just wavered in the middle.
Mhm.
Like I never showed a lot of emotion. So I'm happy to have these out. It feels really good, really positive, and I've only had excellent feedback and testimonials from people who appreciate that I stepped forward and shared.
Beautiful. So, can I ask, what is the main success ingredient up to according to you, for having a loving relationship with your partner?
I will say open and honest and 100% committed. That's where we are. That's what brings the juices together. That's what makes it all work, is open, honest, and 100% committed.
Can I ask you, what is it that you do different in this relationship compared to your previous relationship?
I think for me is understanding that I'm continually growing and to appreciate who I am and who I show up as. And when I'm unsure, I feel great sharing that and being heard. That's what I think I appreciate, and that's what I love about me now, and that's the difference from the previous versus this one right now. Yeah.
Mhm.
So your books, tell us a little bit about, are they out? Can you get them on Amazon? Where are you in that process?
Yes. So the common or the most popular place to get my book, A Year of Love, is on Amazon, both paperback and e-version. I'm hoping to look at the audio version at some point here in the next year. 6 Months of Love. This is actually the only copy right now. This is the proof copy, which I'm just going through right now, and will be published within the next month. Yeah, so that's, and I'm thinking of the trilogy. I'm hoping for a third book here in the next year, and I'm thinking of the word just love. That's what the next one is looking like.
So you can
Yeah.
see the growth there from A Year of Love, which was your relationship with Scott, and then the next book, 6 Months of Love, which is relationship with self, and then the book after that, Just Love, which
Yes.
sounds like it's all encompassing.
Yes, yes, because it's a journey. It's a journey of discovering and finding and seeing and seeking that new plateau of where I can show up and how I show up. So yeah.
So speaking of the journey of love, where are you now in your life? What is coming up for you? What's the next level for you? The next evolution of you?
Um, I'm seeking, I'm shifting, I'm my next space of how I'm giving back to the world. As I said, I've been a teacher for almost 18, 20 years now. And, my kids are growing up. They're in their 20s. And I'm discovering how my voice, my presence, my abilities, my skills, how they show up and benefit the world. And I keep moving forward on that. And one of the things I am continually reminding myself is what was my joy and passion when I was a kid? And, as I said to you before, that little story about my dad and how I was the artsy fartsy one, I'm rediscovering what brings me joy. And so it's the art side of life, the writing, um, the drawing, learning to draw again and learning to do art. And I know um, I possess a skill of working with kids. And so even right now, I'm giving back to the local Thai community, and I read for free. I go to a local coffee shop and I read with the cutest little boy named Pineapple. And I know that's giving back. It enriches his life and enriches my life. So I'm still discovering where I might land in terms of that big, that's what she's doing now. However, giving back in any way I can, meeting new people, learning about them, sharing my life so I can inspire others.
Beautiful. I love this evolution of being in a relationship where you felt stifled and stuck and not expressing the highest of who you really are, to finding yourself, and then when you found yourself, finding love, and then through that process giving back, because ultimately that's what we're here to do, is to give back, because the more we give, the more we get, the more love we have for others, the more love we have for everyone, the more love there is in the world. And so tell me, Lisa, one question that we ask all our guests is, this podcast is called Soul Sisters Get Real. What does that mean to you?
So sisters get real. Well, I think it is about being open and honest and being confident in sharing your own story. And we all have our own stories, and I love it that you have a space that we can do that. So thank you.
Beautiful. We do all have our own story, and yours is a beautiful one. And we'll put the links down below for your books. And yeah, very excited to read them myself. So thank you for coming in today.
Thank you, Elena. Thank you, Karin.
Thank you for being here. We wish you all the luck with your books. I think, I know as I was listening that there are many, many, many people out there that could use your story to help them see who it is they can be and who they can show up as. So thank you.
And how
Thank
they
you.
can love.
How they
Yeah,
can love, right?
and that
Yeah.
they deserve the best love.
Mhm.
Yay.
For sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks so
you.
much.
Thanks for watching. We hope you loved it.
And if you did, please like this video and subscribe to the channel
And remember, always connect to your truest essence.
and choose love. We'll see you next time.